Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. The elderly are twice as likely to be taken advantage of by scammers. Seniors are prime targets because they are thought to have a significant amount of money sitting in their accounts, and they're typically more trusting. But you can fight back just by knowing how the scams work and what to watch for. Kimberly Kravitz has important information for seniors.
Thank you, Larry. Financial scams targeting seniors have become so prevalent that they're now considered the crime of the 21st century. As senior scam crooks rake in a fortune, we expose their favorite tricks and how to avoid them.
Studies show from various organizations and associations that senior fraud accounts for over $20 billion in the industry.
Monmouth County, New Jersey Sheriff Shaun says seniors are targeted for a reason.
Seniors are brought up in that generation to be trustworthy. The telemarketers, the frauds, try to go after them because they think they have the means and the money in order to secure that theft, and they're vulnerable. So some of them don't know the technology age when it comes to computers and telemarketing and fraud, so they stay on the line or on the computer.
Financial scams often go unreported and can be difficult to prosecute. However, they are devastating to the elderly and can leave them in a vulnerable position with little time to recoup their losses.
The question is whether you can catch these people. A lot of the fraudsters are operating outside the confines of the U.S. in places where we don't necessarily have treaties and agreements or otherwise to work well from government to government. A good example is 10 years ago, a lot of the phishing schemes were coming out of Nigeria. Now, even if we were able to identify who's doing them, the second question is whether we can extradite them and have them face criminal charges here in the U.S.
Zev Nitzin was a perfect example of this scam. He was an Alzheimer's patient that was taken advantage of by a recurring scam a few years before he died. His wife tells us that the predators repeatedly made money off of Nitzin, knowing that he was easy prey.
They took advantage of my husband, and they would promise my husband a large amount of sum if he would give $300 or $400 or God knows what they were asking for, and that he'll get a big sum of money back for it. It started a terrible commotion between my husband and I, and it was constant, a problem for us. So you have to be careful of people who are sick. People are going to take advantage of people who are sick, okay? If they could get, or if they have a little finance, whatever it is, they're going to look to take.
Nitzin was one of tens of thousands of victims who trusted the caller on the other end of the line. MoneyGram International knowingly turned a blind eye to these fraudulent schemes and admitted that their agents were involved in countless consumer fraud transactions.
Oversight is tough there. They could arguably be subject to criminal charges, or if they're determined to be an aider and abettor or part of a conspiracy to defraud senior citizens like this. But it's hard. It's difficult to pin that down.
If you too lost money to a scam, you may be entitled to compensation. You can start by filing a request for compensation with the Justice Department, or to find out more about the New Jersey Senior Fraud Education and Protection Program, log on to www.njconsumeraffairs.gov. In the United States, there are about 5 million cases of financial exploitation of the elderly each year. The financial loss of victims is more than $2.9 billion annually for reported cases. Only 1 in 24 cases is reported. So remember, if an offer sounds too good to be true, it most likely is. For Jersey Matters, I'm Kimberly Kravitz.